Since my arrival in France, it appeared to everyone, myself included, that I was the happiest I could possibly be. Newfound independence, constant adventures, 25 of the best friends I could ask for, a perfect host family, no homesickness. It was like a fantasy, but a temporary one. With no local connection and seemingly little in common with the other foreign students, I felt happy, but without a true belonging in France. Then I met Babak, an aspiring geologist from Iran with a surprisingly high voice who signs messages with, "Life is happy." Word on the street was that Babak was an expert in familiar French. "He doesn't have notebooks for class, only notebooks for slang," his friend informed me. I promised to help him with English if he helped me with conversational French, something school couldn't teach me. This was just an excuse to talk to him, and we quickly became friends. A turning point in my semester was the first night Babak and our friend Camilo invited me to hang out with their other international friends. Everyone came together over food and dancing, freely sharing cultures and speaking 5 different languages. I felt completely welcomed and fell in love with this international community. I noticed Babak was the one who connected with every person and created the fun atmosphere. Most of these people had unknown futures. There was no promise of whether they would stay or for how long. I didn't understand how he could give so much with no assurance of consistent friendships. When Babak welcomed me into this new world, it was like finding a home that I didn't know I was lacking. I reached a whole new high in my study abroad experience. There was a validation that I would never reach as a foreigner in France, and I had to accept that. The vulnerability that foreigners share brings us closer together because there is a need for belonging. Babak's unconditional love wasn't necessarily out of choice, but out of need. When I got to know Babak better, I realized that despite his fun-loving personality, he was actually very sad. He had no real connections in France and found it to be a lonely and depressing place. In him, I saw a true Ren that went beyond traditions, attractions, and locals. I thought that I had been lucky to be accepted by these foreign students. But the other day, Camilo told me, "Babak and I have been so lucky to know you. It's hard to make great friends like you here." That made it clear that we all need each other for happiness. This home that I found with Babak and friends will be the hardest thing to leave in France, but I hope I can use him as an inspiration to spread light and community into others' lives who need it. Babak was right. With good friends, life is happy.